B-roll. But you're the holder of the master strategic process, and think that is people turn all over their level of faith and trust to you.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a reach to say like, oh, I can just step out and have other people step in, which is not the goal. The goal is to have small aspects outsourced to other people.
Yeah.
Where those people, they would say, if you can outsource something that can be done 80% as well as you, right? We all heard the same stuff. But with this stuff, it needs to be closer to 100.
Yeah.
Or better. Like you might have somebody who totally specializes in active release who's more trained on that than me, where I could say active release psoas and subca, and they could do a better job at that.
Yeah.
Figuring out what to do and when. Maybe that's kind of when I'm better at.
But I mean, I look at ApolloHealth as a system, a methodology, a plan, a process, a program, a consistent training modality that you have to be consistent and you have to jump into the journey. Otherwise, you're not going to see the results.
Yeah,
right?
or where we are in that too. Like for somebody, it might be, which is, and the reason why I have this as like, 3B, it's not to be like kitschy. It's like, it's more to keep myself organized, to say brain, body, biochemistry, what does this person need the most? Like I had somebody yesterday who's a startup, and his brain stuff was fine, but his biochemistry and his actual structure and his joints were a disaster.
Yeah.
So kind of that's where we're starting. But somebody else might be post-concussed or have some sort of brain-based issue where you need to start with that first, or what have you. But you have to jump in wherever that person is, and I think it has to be non-cookie cutter in order just to minimally do that assessment to say, what does this person actually need, and be unattached to what that is, because that thing might be sending them somewhere else.
Right.
And like, what does this person need? Do they need only they have migraines, but do they only need to take iron? Right. You know what I mean? And they don't need this huge rehab situation, or do they actually need that whole rehab situation, like be unattached to your stuff and just be attached to what they're up to?
Yeah. What I hear in that is, I hear there's the science, there's the program, there's the methodology, there's a level of innovation and integration of all that. So that's like ApolloHealth. And then how you come in is the level, or you and your team is the level of personalization. What does this individual human need that's special to only them? And that's why, for me and my wife, and sending our 4 children here, it is, each one of them is very different. You know that as a parent, as a person, and our bodies keep the score. And so what I know about my eldest son, and what I know about who's 16, and then what I know about my 7-year-old, and then also my mom who's come in here, who's 75. And so that range of, okay, everyone is different. Everyone's showing and demonstrating and having their own unique challenges. And what I appreciate and what I gravitate, and the reason why I am a person who comes here every week as a standing appointment holder, is I know that there's a level, you're peeling back layers of an onion, and it all presents in its own unique fashion for every individual person, which that's why I'm here.
Right. And very few people, like promote you, very few people have the ability to work on what you're working now, but then have your next thing in mind. So what am I going to be doing next? Even though we're still working on this, what's going to be next?
Yeah.
And that's something not too many people have, to be able to work on a problem and simultaneously create more wellness.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, you would want all your people to do that, but you get very few people who actually think through that or have the high enough value on that.
And I think that everyone needs, during these periods of time in our lives, you have to be, yes, reflective, but you also have to be thoughtful in setting the goals. And I'm a goal setter. I like when I have something to achieve, and it's this continuation of progress and optimization and betterment. And I'm the 1% better approach. I just want to get 1% better, and that's obviously exponential and incremental over time.
Right. Yeah. 1% per day, 300.
Right. You're gonna remarkably change.
Yeah.
And what I see for my kids particularly is, I mean, obviously, as parents, you worry about scholastics, you worry about athletics, worrying about social emotional and the sleep piece.
Mm-hmm.
And what I know that your system offers and provides is a level of consistency and glue to keep all of that together. And I mean, just if we look at Poppy as an example and how she has evolved and changed and grown through progress here, I mean, I'm incredibly appreciative of that.
Yeah. Well, she's another one self-driven.
Yeah.
Kids, right? She's got her own thing. She's competitive. She was potentially squeamish coming in, but
incredibly squeamish.
But obviously found some sort of level of comfort, and she has none of that remaining. Whereas a lot of kids who come in at that level might be squeamish for 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Right?
Yeah.
She's just like, she just breaks through barriers. Right. That's going to be one of her superpowers.
Yeah.
You know, it's remarkable. Like, one thing I want to hit is and I recall who sent you in. I think, actually, I believe your wife got sent here first.
Yes,
right.
yes.
So, what was it that you had going on, or was it nothing? Or, like, I remember what your symptom was, but what was the driving factor if you actually to like drive here, go out of your way? You're busy. You know?
Yeah. Look,
was it something you're nervous about, or was it like, I just need to do?
Well, if I step back and holistically think about myself and the way I approach my health is, yes, I'm constantly looking for ways to get better, but I know that in my body, I've had some serious physical, both head trauma, like, probably 3, maybe even 4, of mild to active strong concussions, and so that's always concerned me.
Yeah.
And so when I came in and you were doing your assessments, even the first 2 or 3 sessions, you were thinking and watching and observing me, and what I appreciated the most was you were able to detect it in my body, and I knew it, and I was holding on to it. I came in, I continually have a neck and shoulder issue, and it's constantly bound and tight, and I don't know if it was, it's, let's just say over the last year, it's gone from a 9 to a 0.5. And that wasn't, 1 session or 2 sessions, that was time. And that was consistency. And I think that is, my level of encouragement on anyone who wants to jump in is that, yes, you are able to fix and help and support the body very quickly, and you're able to have a longitudinal, longer approach on what are some of these major issues. And so I felt like I had some major issues I was holding on to, and that was and still is the case, and that's why I come here every
Well,
Tuesday morning.
In addition to the head traumas, you also had some other sport-related injuries that were fairly significant.
Very significant.
And non-sport injuries and such. So a lot of people, I think there's a sweet spot when somebody gets injured, and there's even statistics on, how significant the trauma is and the likelihood of it being there 5 years, right? And so many people, unfortunately, wait either because they don't know it should be dealt with, or they just want to see if it goes away on its own, or they're just, trying to do the guy thing.
Yes.
I have no time. We all do it in some aspect of life, but when we do it in our health and we wait, like, there's consequences.
Right? And look, there's the sport piece, but I also think there's a lifestyle piece on how we live and continually sitting and driving and lack of mobility. That adds up, and that becomes cumulative, and that overflows the cup fairly quickly. So I really believe that it's not only, oh my God, I've got something going on, but also, what is my life presenting and how do I minimize?
And to be clear, like, you do more than almost everyone, right? With regards to your personal care at home, with regards to nutrition, with regards to being proactive on lab tests. Like a lot of people might need to dial in so many more things, before getting, remarkable results like you, because you've kind of put in so much background work.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, if they would, you'd almost wish before somebody started, give me a month of follow this diet and do this stuff before you even come in.
Yeah.
But in reality, you have to like look at their symptoms and then start working with them where they're at, and then try to expand it from there. But your outlook is such that you're just always doing stuff that's for the betterment, and it translates in your family as well.
Yeah.
What other stuff? What else are you thinking about? What are you working on? So oddly enough, when I was in this morning on my way in, I was listening to a podcast, and it was the guy talking about this misogi thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on the way in. I knew you were in that day, so I thought it was kind of funny because you don't hear that too often, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to talk about what you did?
Yeah.
Because I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, one of the only reasons why there was a level of confidence and ultimately success was, I would say, of the things that I do, this would have been, if you've got 3 pillars of Apollo Health, I think one of the pillars that I have in my life is this practice with you, right? There's my eating, and there's my sleeping, and there's my attentiveness to supplementation and good repair and good recovery. But I think that this has been a ability to proactively put me on a better path. So my misogi was essentially a annual solo transformational journey, intended to be transformational because it's so hard.
Yeah.
So you're essentially choosing something that there's possibility of 50% possibility of failure, right?
And it's supposed to be something that defines your year.
Exactly.
Sense,
and
right?
so I've been doing a lot of thoughtful consideration around walking and what walking is and how important it is and critical it is to the human body as well as species. And I think we underestimate the big significance of walking in our lives. And so what I endeavored to do was walk 100,000 steps. And so I knew it was going to be around 45 miles. Ultimately, it was 54 miles, and it was just under 16 hours, and it was
and that's fast.
Yeah, my last 5 miles was my fastest time, because number one, I wanted to get through it, but number two, I felt that my body was just in this incredible sync and flow. So it was special and challenging, but also the only way that one of the only ways that I think I got through it was I also deployed some of the things that I know you do in here on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, I was doing a lot of the brain and eye integration stuff. What's that called?
Well, you were doing saccades. Fast eye movements.
Fast eye movements. I was doing a lot of lateral movements. I was doing walking backwards movements. There was a lot of things that I've learned in here that I deployed. And it was something that I believe that I was able to get through because of great work here.
Well, your implementation is pretty incredible. A lot of people will do their home exercises, but then kind of like forget how to do it or forget why they're doing it. And that's probably my lack of education, which is some of the reasons why we're filming all this content. So people can say, oh, why am I doing these like lateral eye movements, or yes, yes, and no, no's, or why am I walking backwards?
Yeah.
And the thing is, so, like Mike, make a note, we have to train more people on how to implement that stuff. So not just to get through a little vestibular episode, but to have better posture, better stability exercises and whatnot. So, but that's pretty cool that you would have pulled it off without us, but it was pretty cool that we had a small part of it.
It was great. I thought about you guys often because I was solo on a trail for 54 miles with no content. And so you think a lot of things.
That's got to be so difficult. I don't know if I could even pull that off. Like, so some people, this is a great time of year for people to be thinking about. As you get the end of the year, we got the solstice coming up.
Yeah.
Winter solstice, which is a good time to think about like dying off of old stuff and getting ready to grow new stuff.
Yes.
For the new season.
Yes.
So it's a great time to be thinking about what should I do next year that can define my year. And blah blah blah, or schedule out my time so that it doesn't get filled with low priority items. It happens to all of us. You schedule out the big rocks, and then
Yeah.
And then fill in the small ones after that.
Exactly.
So that's great times, good fun. Anyway, I appreciate you so much, and I look up to you for inspiration in your implementation. And anything else you want to say?
Look, I would say that if anyone's in the mode of considering this practice, or being challenged by what are some of their own beliefs and some of these the rigid thinking that people have, there are a particular level of bravery and courage. But I think the more and more you trust the process, the more and more you believe in yourself, and the more and more you understand that it's not about self-care. I think it's about self-respect. And we've got this one vessel, this one thing that we're holding on to, and we have to take care of it. And so what are the mindful choices? Because we're just a reflection of our choices. So the small choices matter, the big ones do too, but most often the small ones in the day-to-day matter most. And that becomes cumulative. So take a step in the right direction. And I think you can have a lot of change and impact. But I just want to say thank you so much for all the support here from ApolloHealth and the team, but particularly to you, because you are a true healer and you've got a special gift. And I think a lot of people come in here and there's a level of hidden and quiet pain, and you're able to detect that, and your demeanor, your bedside demeanor, and your ability to be on that journey and be a participant and a partner on that is incredibly special. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you.